And we're back once again, only on it's Last Call. Last Call, the alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com. And once again, we're talking some pro wrestling, a lot of things going on WWE, AEW, and I need to bring in a guy who's going to be unapologetic about saying what's on his mind, what's on wrestling fans' mind, and damn the dirt sheets, damn feelings, damn pro wrestlers. Feelings. He's going to give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. The man more controversial than Sean Ross Sapp, Brad Shepard, and even JD from New York combined. I give you it is JJ Alexander. So, JJ, let's start off here with you were dreading this. You kept telling me, Chris, you don't know what you're talking about. We're getting something else but this. And unfortunately, you were wrong. Cody Rhodes is the new WB undisputed champion or universal champion. He is now taking on RKO himself, Randy Orton. Well, they tried to turn Randy heel, but the crowd just went, no, we're still cheering him. Randy Orton turns on Cody Rhodes last week, beats the hell out of him, bloodies him, hits him with a chair shot, and the fans still cheer Randy Orton.
Gee, I wonder why.
I get this is what, when WWE has their mindset on things, as BQ of a negative BQ says, when they have their mindset on something, they're not deviating, but
This isn't
who thought
them.
this was going to be a good idea to turn Randy Orton heel when nobody wants to boo him? Fans want to
It was
cheer him, and
Cody's
yet it's like,
idea.
nope, you got to boo him or else.
This was Cody. This is all fucking Cody. This is Cody needing to be the golden boy, needing to be the white meat baby face, and people are sick of it. This right here, this whole scenario, we have literally seen for the last 2 years. We saw it happen with Rock last year or 2 years ago. We saw it happen with Cena last year. Same exact thing. Here's a heel, beat up Cody, make him bloody. I'm the big bad heel. People are sick of it. Randy, prior to Friday, was the most over he has been in over a decade. Like, you want to talk about crowd reaction and at the decibel meter going off, the only person who is as over with that crowd when their music hits is Rhea. Like, nobody wanted this because now what do we have? Now we have generic heel Randy Orton, which is what we've seen for 75% of his career. And it was old and tired and stale. And now we're right back at square one. Why? Because Cody has to be the shining baby face. We're tired of it. Literally, the creative team went, "Oh wait, Cody winning the title got 200,000 dislikes on social media. Oh, no, yeah, no, let's turn the other guy heel." It's so ridiculous. It is playing it safe for all the wrong reasons. This is laziness.
Now, I said the same thing, but some let's say esteemed colleagues of ours over at Toontown Wrestling, aka Akadis, said we're reading too much of into this. This is great. People are engaged. They're engaged, JJ. They are engaged, and they wanted Randy Orton to be a 2009 Randy Orton again, and that's what we're getting. I don't see it though. I mean, and look, you and I can both agree. Social media has changed the way people view wrestlers. People now know Randy Orton as, this, Quadzilla dad who
Mm-hmm.
literally almost went from being unable to walk to now getting a second chance in wrestling. He's been big in the mental health world. He's grown up. Like, I get they're gonna try every trope they can think of, and they've shown like, yeah, Randy Orton said, yeah, I know that, and now I know I'm a killer, and I now know, where it's more of a run wrestling family, and but will that change though if people want to just cheer? Like even when he shoved Jelly Roll, people were still cheering. Like, all right, this
Yep.
is at what point if you're WWE, you just go, all right, we need to start, we need to turn Cody heel. It's time now.
Yeah. It's been time. People, but it's the matter of They gave this kid a modicum of creative control when he re-signed, and he is just pounding that into the ground. Why? Because he's a spoiled freaking nepo baby. He is a pushed mid-carder that's a freaking entrance merchant that people like want to put on this pedestal. And I've been sick of Cody Rhodes since his I hate the WWE. I want to be the king of the indies bullshit freaking 10 years ago. Like, that's how long I've been sick of Cody Rhodes. So this isn't like coming out of nowhere. Like, as much as I hate the AEW fan base, they were kind of right when they were booing him out of the fucking building because they were sick of seeing him being the forced babyface. Like, he thinks he's John Cena. He is not John Cena.
I'll push back on that a bit. He look when he came back to WWE, he was a babyface, and I think even after he finished the story, he was a babyface. I blame more creative where they failed him the first run around. You know, it was the wrestler of the month feud. First it was AJ, then Logan Paul, then it was AJ again, and then Kevin Owens, but Kevin didn't turn heel. It was just Cody gave him a title shot, and I get it. You know, it's not just Cody's fault, but
But it's also been the same with everyone Cody has worked. It's I'm gonna fight you because I respect you, and then the other guy turns heel. It's been, with the exception of Logan Paul, that's been every Cody freaking thing, except what do you call it? Like, every filler that hasn't been shit with Drew has been I respect you, and then all of a sudden afterwards, after I win once, then all of a sudden, nope, I don't respect you and I'm gonna turn heel now. Like, it's such old hat. We have seen it over and over and over again. It's, I'm gonna quote Roman, and it's like missionary position week after week after week. It's the same boring shit.
what should we expect from this match going into Mania event? Because look, they're going to try everything, and Randy's as good of a pro as there is. He knows how to be
Mm-hmm.
a heel.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when, and again, this is almost like last year with Cena and Cody, and even then, that took Herculean effort. People were still cheering when John Cena beat Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
even though John was a heel.
Because they were sick of Cody then.
Yeah, so what is that? If you're WWE, like, what is the pivot? Like, when do you go, okay, this isn't working?
The problem is they're not going to do. They don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that this isn't working because of how much money they have tied up in Cody and his freaking brands and his fucking and his boring ass podcast. And it's just, they have so much tied up into him that they're afraid to pull that pin out and let other people have their moment in the sun. He's literally being Cody Hogan, but people don't want to admit that. This is,
Uh,
go back and look at the 80s during the Saturday Night's Main Event run. What did we see every time Saturday Night's Main Event came around? We would see the big bad heel beat the ever loving fuck out of Hogan, leave Hogan laid, bloodied, knocked out, whatever, and then Hogan always comes back and wins, and Hogan must pose. That's what we're seeing with Cody.
how disappointed are you in Triple H about this, then? Because all right, Vince, we got it. And Vince, at 73 years old when Vince was doing this, you understood he wasn't going to change. He was
Mm-hmm.
set in his ways, and the apocalypse could happen. He was still going to, nope, I'm doing wait me baby face no matter what here.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, we thought, okay, he learned what not to do. He learned exactly why this fell. How disappointed are you that he's doing the same stuff that he's not learning? It's almost like, well, I'm going back to the well. I'm going to do this no matter what. And damn the torpedoes. I'm going to run the Cody Rhodes, white meat baby face into the ground, even if fans do a full turn.
So I'm disappointed to an extent. However, I'm also not going to be the one that puts everything on the chief content officer when we have creative teams on two shows who Number one, you don't have Road Dogg anymore, so you don't have a veteran sitting at the head of that table that will put their foot down and say no. You've got people who are corporate yes men who will say, well, according to accounts receivable, this is how much merch this is pouring in, so we got to stay the course with this. So yeah, we're not going to budge on this. We need to play it safe. On top of it, it's the fact that because we're stuck in Vegas for a second year with Mania, because they offered the big amount of money, they need to play it safe and just book what will be safe to try to get people in the door. That's the problem. If this Mania was taking place in New Orleans, we would probably be seeing a completely different card right now, because they would be willing to take some risks to get people in. But right now, it's basically kowtowing to the tourism of a city that is losing tourism dollars, and it's not the fault of WWE, it's the fault of the overall travel economy.
All right, how do you book the rest of this feud? Because first we're gonna find out soon, like who's on the phone, and we've heard the speculation. Hey, maybe it's The Rock. Hey, maybe it's Ric Flair. Hey, maybe it's Dustin Rhodes. I'm
No, it's
I'm
not
ready to go.
Dustin.
Like, hey, maybe it's even Arn Anderson. So who do you think is on the other end of a phone realistically, and who would you want to be on the other end of the phone?
See, I don't know who I'd want, because ultimately, whoever it is, there's going to be an issue. I mean, obviously, the first thing would be it would be him calling his dad, but it's, his dad. You're not going to drag Bob out of the old folks home. Like, that it was rough using Bob, 15 years ago. Now, like, I don't see him being the corner man for Randy, although that would be the obvious choice. Flair still, I wouldn't touch Flair right now with all the heat around him, publicly. Can't really do Flair. Um, Arn Arn might work, but the thing is, then it's just more of Cody getting turned on by the people he loves, and Cody has to fight up and shut up. Nobody wants it. Um, uh,
It's
it
probably
could
not The
be
Rock. Rock is now going full
no.
on Hollywood, so
Rock is in the middle of something where he can't get super jacked real fast. So no, it's not going to be Rock. Rock is working on a role right now where he's got to stay thinner than wrestling build. So it's not Rock. As much as people think it's Rock, it's not Rock. I mean,
Bret Hart.
no. I Number one, like, how would that even work? Number two, I don't need to see Bret Hart on my screen getting bitchy about stuff. Like, there's just no matter who it is, it's gonna fall flat. And it's just gonna be an extra peg there for, to try to build this to be, to be like, oh, look what we added into this. And no one cares. No one cares. This should have been a completely different scenario, with either Drew and Randy having a good match and Randy going over as a triumphant 15-time babyface champion while Drew goes off to film Highlander. And then you could have gone on stuff. It should have been Cody turning heel because everyone is just tired of white meat babyface Cody. It could have been a number of things. I mean, it would be nice if it was, if it wasn't Rock, if it was another Samoan, but who do you really use? Like, you can't, with all the bloodline stuff ramping up again, you can't use any of the Samoans. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't see any option being a viable option.
You said Flair, you in touch. Why? Because he's still beloved in that, let's say, the inner circle, the Shawn Michaels,
Yeah,
Triple H, even Nick Khan. Like Flair has,
right. But
as they
he's a
said, he is a
train
made
wreck.
man.
He is a train wreck right now. And just like, they can't run the risk of another cell phone video popping up of Rick being drunk off his ass somewhere and spouting off a bunch of expletives and shitting himself this close to Mania. And they're going to be in Vegas. You do not want Flair in Vegas on your conscience going into this.
Yeah, but I've heard rumors, JJ, where you and Flair used to party back in the '90s.
I have
I've
never
even heard there was you, a showgirl, Flair with 10 Vegas hotties, and well, I can't get into that, but hey, it's never a dull moment, Flair in Vegas.
there's several old school talents I have been around. Ric Flair has never been in the same room as me.
I know why you're saying the NDAs, well, it's like, there may or may not be a mafia member involved, so you got to keep that on the down low. But again, Vince, so what's the high is, as you said, it's Cody Rhodes, gets back his baby face. What's the realistic scenario where we see in WrestleMania that this how plays out?
Realistically, Cody must pose. That's what's going to happen. Cody's going to win, and then we're not going to know what to do after that. If this was a perfect world, I mean, if this was a perfect world, Cody wouldn't be the babyface going into this. If this is a perfect world, you would do a double turn, and Cody would be the heel leaving Mania. But it's gonna be lackluster. And I mean, in all honesty, like the more of this build happens, the less I'm interested in actually watching the show live. Like not just this match, just overall.
That leads to the second main event. It is depending what you thought. Either you're still hyped about Roman versus Punk, or this last promo felt sort of, oh, all right, well. Yes, the main insult that finally got Punk to take a swing. He's old. So that's like me saying, JJ, you wear glasses. That's why you're a bad podcaster. Or hey, you're chubby. Who wrote this? And look,
I
I get it. I understand. They don't ever want to mention AEW on WB TV and can't go certain things. And I get that, Punk really doesn't want to talk about his dog, but that made no sense. A 41-year-old calling a 47-year-old, hey, you're old. What the hell happened here?
I feel like there was supposed to be another zinger line and they kiboshed it at the last minute because Phil said that doesn't work for me, brother. Because that last line felt very forced, and you can tell there was supposed to be something else there. Like my guess is that last line was supposed to be you're washed up, you got a glass jaw, you're injury prone, something along those lines. It shouldn't have just been you're old. Because I mean, yeah, he's old, but I mean, so's everyone else. Randy's older than Punk. Like and I like because I was digging it up until that. I think Roman has been mopping the floor with him lately. And that's what keeps me interested in this because, yeah, just I mean, Punk is a novelty act at this point. No one wants to admit it, but he is. I've been saying it since he first set foot out in the United Center on Rampage. I've said it, and my wife loves it when I like she loved how I compare him because I would always compare Punk, and ever since he's been back, no matter what company, I say that Punk is Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own. You come out, you wave, you tip your little hat, you go back in the dugout and shut the fuck up. That's all he's good for. He comes out, he does the entrance pop, he does the it's clobbering time, he comes in, he does the cheap town pop of isn't it good to feel alive and insert city here, which is just, Mick Foley could still do that. And then it's all recycled nonsense from this dude. Like he's nothing special anymore. And I was a Punk fan when I first got in the business, but I also learned from a lot of people that worked with him in my early years in the business that he's not worth sharing a locker room with.
How much does it hurt? I'm trying to be fair here.
Yeah.
Neither guy of fans want to boo.
Yeah.
Both men probably are in that babyface,
Mm-hmm.
authority slash attitude character. So I get it. Punk could pooch punt a baby seal and people would cheer him. Roman Reigns could walk up to an old lady, in the front row, spit on her, and fans would cheer. So again, how do you get one of them to be the bad guy when nobody wants to do it at these shows?
They're trying to force that with all the inklings of, oh, Roman's gonna bring back the old bloodline. It's like everyone loved the old bloodline. Y'all don't seem to realize that. Like, yeah, they were a heel stable, but they were the level of cool that the Horsemen were in the freaking 80s. Like, it didn't matter that they were heels. You wanted to cheer them. And so you want to you want to be like, "Oh, we're going to flip Roman back heel because we need to." It's not going to stick. People are still going to cheer for him. People are still going to throw the ones. People are still going to buy the merch. Like, it's this feud is happening because they needed two stars in the main event marquee, and unfortunately the people that were supposed to be holding the world title were all injured going in, so they couldn't do it because this match was supposed to be Roman versus Seth. I guarantee you it was supposed to be Roman versus Seth before Seth got hurt, but this is what we've got, and they're just
And
going
I'd even
babyface
say it
versus
was supposed to
babyface.
be maybe Roman versus Cody and then Punk versus Braun, where okay, we get the big, dream, quote unquote, rematch, and we get young versus old, and then Braun gets injured, Seth really gets injured. Now we're down to this. So here's the other part. Who do you because you sort of need to, again, and I get, things are now changing because of the Iran war.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure what's going on with Saudi, and
Right,
we're trying to figure out the future.
right.
But who wins here? Because you have one guy who's a part-timer, literally, and the
Mm-hmm.
other guy who he shows up, but he doesn't wrestle as much because you understand the body is just starting to give up a bit. He's
Mm-hmm.
47 and he's been through just the ringer a lot. So who should win this WrestleMania match if down the line? Like who do you put the title on Roman? Do you keep it
Yeah,
on Punk? I guess is that sort of the big draw where it's like there isn't a clear-cut answer.
yeah. You put the title on Roman. Netflix wants Roman to be the Marquis of Raw. So you put that title on Roman, and Roman will elevate that because that belt, like, the belt got manufactured because they needed to go back to the well of having two different world champions again, and they needed something exclusively for Netflix, and it was that belt was pretty much snake bit from the beginning. So just put it on Roman. It doesn't matter, I mean, I know people are like, oh, part timers, yada yada, but the thing is, the world title shouldn't be defended every week. Like, the world title is there to be a marquee position, especially when you have so many mid card titles. You don't need to have the world champion always. That's why you have everyone else. So let the world champion be the world champion and defend it at the big events. Like, I have no problem with a part timer holding it as long as they don't go the level of part time that Brock did like 6 years ago, where he defended once every 13 freaking months.
Glad you brought that guy up. That's right. You were one of the minor people who did not like this, but Oba Femi made a statement on Monday Night Raw, came out, beat the hell out of Brock Lesnar. He has answered the challenge. I get, JJ, you're shaking your head going, do
Terrible
not want. You are the dog meme that shakes his head going, do not want this. We're getting this here.
for a plethora of reasons.
So let's start with you because I know you've been this. You basically said yeah this how am I gonna put it, shit show has left the train. It's gonna be bad lazy booking. So why is it?
It's because it's the instant gratification nonsense, and it's the fact that no one ever learns from history, and if we do not learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. The person who should have been in this entire situation is Royce Keys, not Obafemi. Why? Because Royce Keys has a good 5 years in him before you got to start worrying about it. He's got a shorter span to get to the top, and he's the same size. And that could have Brock could have made Royce Keys win, lose, or draw. No matter who went over in the match, he could have made Royce Keys into a megastar. This is your problem with Obafemi. And this is the problem that no one seems to want to talk about. And it's something that I've analyzed for the past 25 years is the fact that they created a problem child with Brock Lesnar 2 decades ago. And they are about to recreate that problem child with Obafemi. Brock, the positive with Brock was when Brock was in OVW, they put him in a tag team. They told him to slow the fuck down. He got in his reps. He worked in front of a small audience. And by the time they debuted him on the main roster, yeah, they debuted him as a single and they made him into a world beater. And the way they did it was organic, but they still put the world title on him too fast. And they ran with it. And then what ultimately happened? Brock said, fuck this, I'm out. And he left because he said, I want to go do what I want to do. Why? Because he had a giant ego. And what happens? He goes to play football. He gets kicked out of the NFL. And then he goes, oh shit, I have a 10-year no compete. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm just going to go to Japan and tell WWF to fuck off and handle this bullshit in the courts because I have a giant ego and I'm a giant man child. And his ego has done nothing but grow and grow and grow for decades to the point where when they brought him back, oh, look, he is the laziest he has ever been ever since Brock came back. But, the freaking let's face Cena and I'm just going to throw Germans. That's all I'm going to do. He's fucking lazy. Lazy, lazy, lazy. And what does this lead to? They're like, oh, well, Brock eventually put over. Yeah, he put over Roman after how many times are Roman having to eat shit and Roman getting his face busted open because Brock isn't safe. And then, oh, but he put over Cody. Yeah, because he was friends with Dusty. That's why. Brock only puts over people that he's friends with. And that is not a positive thing to happen. So where does this all lead? So now we got this young kid who was shoved down our fucking throats in NXT because they're like, oh, he's a big guy. So let's just throw him out there and put belts on him left and right and let him just run through everyone. And he never learned how to actually fucking work. But people don't want to admit that. They get fooled by the entrance and the piped in chants, and they're like, "Here we go." It's literally fucking Goldberg. It's he comes in every Obafemi match since the main roster is he comes in, he throws you, he puts you in the corner, he does 2 uppercuts, he throws you again, he does the fucking power bomb. That's it. It's a fucking Goldberg match. And so then, do we remember what happened when we finally put Goldberg versus Brock? It was a terrible fucking match. And Madison Square Garden turned on them. It wasn't just because they were both fucking leaving. It's because no one fucking cared. So what happens? Now we've got this young kid who you're going to put in there against Brock. Number one, Brock's not going to put him over. I don't think anybody that says Brock's going to lay down for this kid. No, he's not. He's not. He'll be like, oh, I'll make him look good. And then, you know something? That brings up, we literally got this 2 years ago with Brock versus Omos. Brock went, oh, I'll make him. Yeah, where's Omos been since then? Besides, a couple of shots here and there.
True, but you could argue that Omos is always going to have special problems. And you and I have both understand, like, how do you have a 7'3", I'll say 404 bills guy lose to guys half his size? This is sort of now the problem you have in wrestling, where you have a lot of smaller wrestlers who look like small children. Like, how does,
Mm-hmm.
in a perfect world, how does somebody like Cody beat a guy that big? How does Dominic Mysterio? How does even Randy Orton? I mean, Omos is just too big. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Omos was too big. With Obafemi, he's big, but it's not just like, holy crap, he's just a giant, like Andre the Giant. There are ways. So, and you've pointed out, this is an old roster. You need to start elevating guys, and they haven't done that for the last 5 years prior to this. So Again, I love Obafemi. I know you don't. I get he's limited, but
And the
still,
problem
this
is,
is
he doesn't need to be limited. If they had taken their time with him, he would be far more rounded out. It's the difference between preparing a steak dinner in an oven and preparing it in a microwave. And that's what they did with this kid, is just shoved him in the fucking microwave. He's a 7-Eleven burrito. That's he's not done. And the problem is, because now he's on this giant stage, like that match is going to be the drizzling shits. It's going to be uppercut, uppercut, German, 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 punch kick, German, German, F5, F5, power bomb, Brock kicks out, power bomb, Brock kicks out, F5, Brock wins. It's gonna be
what if
awful.
Oba wins?
He won't.
You
And
also
if he
said that Drew
does,
McIntyre wasn't not going to
if he
WrestleMania as champion.
does, if he does, it will give that kid an ego so fucking big. And then where do you go from there? You have nowhere to go from there. You just had him beat Brock Lesnar, who you just had Paul Heyman declare is the real main event of WrestleMania, which that's another fucking issue, because you're already giving this kid a giant fucking head that he can't fucking work with. And then what do? You have him beat Brock Lesnar, and then what? You put the world title on him the next week? It's a corner that you're just pushing him into, that there's so many wrong reasons for this match to be happening. On top of it, the entire creative team needs to get beat upside the head with a fucking baseball bat, because they don't know what they're even writing week to week. Because quite literally, the week that Heyman and Brock came out and said, "We're issuing an open challenge. This is the real main event." And Brock just stood there doing his pee-pee dance in the ring, and nobody fucking came out. And they're like, "Here's the next dates he'll be out there. Maybe someone will have the balls then." Literally, literally, the next segment was Adam Pearce standing next to the Danhausen crate, and there's Obafemi. Obafemi apparently was too much of a bitch to go out there to face Brock that week. They don't think of these things.
I agree about that whole point, but still, this is fans have short memories, attention or short attention spans, I should say at times. So things will be fine. Hold on, I got a text here. Tell JJ he's overreacting. Signed WWE Creative. P.S. We know you hate us. We don't care.
Tell them to stop stealing my shit for the past 20 years.
Well, speaking of stealing, yep, and let's see. Finn Balor has been kicked out because, as Liv Morgan said, she stole Judgment Day out from under him. We're now getting Dominic versus Finn. Sorry, we're going a little bit too far here. We're getting Dominic versus Finn at WrestleMania, it appears.
Probably, yeah.
Is this the right way to go? And without the
You,
did Dom would Dom have need should Dom have kept the belt till then, or was this or does this feud not need a belt?
this feud is to keep Dom relevant. That's all it is. It's to keep Dom relevant. And unfortunately, you don't know what to do now, because unfortunately Ray got hurt again. So they're gonna have to scrap the whole freaking program that they would have done in Mexico with Ray and Dom. So now who knows what's gonna happen with that, but they shouldn't put the belt back on Dom, the Intercontinental. And honestly, Finn doesn't need the Intercontinental title. Finn should be in the freaking main event. And unfortunately, you're going to have to move him to SmackDown to do that after Mania. But this is literally just a vehicle for someone to keep Dom relevant, and for Finn to break out the demon again and get the big pop at Mania. That's all it is.
So first, let's take a look at Judgment Day going forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's now two guys and two girls. Three
What
if
what the
you
fuck happened to Roxanne?
yeah. Well, Roxanne, I'm still trying to figure out when she's coming back because she had surgery and again HIPAA laws, everything, keeping hush hush.
Yeah.
What's the future for Judgment Day? Because this doesn't feel like a group. It just feels almost like. bunch of people together because, well,
Right. Judgment Day has run its course. Like either rename it or do something else because it's there's no point to it anymore.
so let's start off. What should we expect from Dom versus Finn? Like, are you looking forward to it? Are they going to rush this? Should anybody come to help Dom? Like, how does this work for this feud, considering Dom, but Finn, the babyface heel, babyface turns kind of got sped up very quickly.
It became contrived because they teased the babyface turn with Finn, but then they had him still go after Punk again, and that led into all the shit with Chicago that was contrived because we knew Finn wasn't winning that shit and yada yada. And it felt like a stop start that shouldn't have happened because they were just gonna go to this route anyways. So just let it be done. Let Finn be the big harrowing baby face. Let them do some shit to him in the next 2 weeks where he completely loses his shit, turns into the demon because we haven't seen the demon in a while. And it's been even longer since the demon has actually won a match, which is a giant shortfalling on the creative team because for years it was the demon was unbeatable. And then they just said, fuck it, and kept beating the demon. So this would be a triumphant return for Finn as a babyface. Bring back the demon. Have the huge entrance at Mania once the sun has gone down, so it doesn't look stupid. And have Finn get the triumphant win. Leave Judgment Day in the dust. Go to a different show. And then whatever happened to Judgment Day after that, what does it matter? Like it's not the Judgment Day. It's Dom and Liv and whoever else is the fuck standing there. Raquel doesn't need them. She can handle her own. She can do all her shit on her own now. She's over on her own. JD, JD's as over as he's ever going to get, and he's injury prone.
And then there's Roxanne Perez, again, do you
Roxanne can
have
get
her
over on
aligned
her
with
own.
Finn? Do you have her break off? I mean, again, it's just sort of again, it's because WWE doesn't like to do intergender matches, which I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't have men hitting women, I understand
Mm-hmm.
why. You're sort of limited to what
I mean,
Raquel and Roxanne and Liv can do. So again, like,
that they can do here. If they wanted to, they could do the mixed tag matches down in AAA.
yeah, but I don't think you're gonna send all of them because they're just
Why not?
it's Liv is too big, I think, for the company, and again, it's the
Bailey was
more
just
you
there.
start
It wasn't an
using these
issue.
people, and as twice as you are, like we forgot to mention. Oh, Dominic nearly got concussed again in Mexico.
If Vikingo still has a job at the end of this month, I'll be surprised.
So again, does after Mania, do you just blow this whole up? Everybody goes separate ways, and if you want to do a different Judgment Day with Dom, you can have him maybe recruit guys that maybe could, get more heat with him. Whether it's, I don't know, you bring, you Royce Keys if you want to turn him heel, although it doesn't look like likely. You put maybe Ilya Dragunov, a Creed, put some people with Dom rather than just what's here.
The thing is, it's Dom needs to learn how to stand on his own. Dom has always had the stable to play off of, the people to protect him, to get him the heat by association. This kid needs to learn how to stand on his own and get heat on his own without having it depend on the person standing next to him or the person across the ring from him that he has recently turned on. He needs to learn how to stand on his own 2 feet.
Can Finn Balor work as a babyface now?
Yeah.
You say he's a main roster guy. People like myself are skeptical because way he's just a smaller guy. He's not Seth Rollins over the top, big personality. That's never been him. So in this WWE where we have sort of almost a war going between these new kids who are much bigger, like Trick, Braun, Oba, and the older generation that's still call it the Usos, Roman, Cody, Orton, Drew, and Jacob Fatu. Like, where does Finn fit?
Finn is a grizzled vet who, when they need him to hit into that higher gear, he can do it. He's one of those guys you can plug and play, and he will work with whoever you tell him to work with, and he will make them look like $1 million. And as far as people thinking that he can't, like handle it on the mic and stuff, like a lot of people don't remember Prince Devitt. Prince Devitt was a menace, and he could be a menace as a babyface.
Speaking of menaces, baby faces, your new Intercontinental Champion,
Yes.
Pentagon Jr. I don't want to jinx it because I hate jinxing stuff. Is this the first sort of crossover Latino star WWE has wanted since Prime Eddie and Ray? Because they tried. They tried with, Andrade. They tried with Alberto Del Rio. They've
Mm-hmm.
tried with Dragon Lee. They've
Mm-hmm.
tried with Santos Escobar, with the
Mm-hmm.
Garzas. They tried almost every friggin' Mexican they could bring in at times, and
Mm-hmm.
it's funny the one. Why has Pentagon unlocked sort of the code where fans are really behind him?
Because Penta is a guy that has learned how to evolve over the years. Even though a lot of people aren't familiar with it because they didn't watch it at the time, but you can go back and watch Lucha Underground, you could see the evolution of Penta back then when he was just Pentagon and turned into Pentagon Dark. And he's a guy that if you sit him down, he's like a sponge. He will absorb the knowledge that you give him and find a way to evolve. And as it was, and that's why he was floundering away in AEW. They were just like, oh, stick him with his brother so that we can have two guys that the Bucks can, be their bump buddies. Like, and that just got tired after a while. But Penta can hold his own, and just within the first, I mean, he's been there a little over a year. And him winning the Intercontinental title, that's a story that started building last year, a month before Mania. So that's a long-term story that paid off eventually. And the fact is, like, even like when he first got there, like they taught him, they were just like, here's how your entrance is going to be, and they bounced ideas off him. And that's when he said he used to like the way that Scott Hall would do the strut, and he was like, can I try this? And look at how it caught on automatically. And people like freaking, they wait for it the second the boom, the pose, and then here comes the smooth operator strut, and then he just does the Cerro Miedo and taps everyone along the aisle. He has them in the palm of his hand. He's a guy that knows he got the assignment, and he figured it out right away, and he phoned it, he got it right in. He checks all the boxes. He's got what they've been looking for.
So who does he feud with next? Because Mania's coming up, and the worry I have is, hey, we're gonna do a multi-person IC title match, which
God, I hope not.
you and I both have said, and once again, credit BQ, bullshit multi-person garbage matches here. He deserves something. Like he deserves a big feud, but how tough is it right now where it's sort of like, well, and there's nobody right now for the dance car. Like you don't have Braun Breaker, you don't have Bronson Reed. The Usos, I guess, gonna be tied up with the rest of the division. So
Possibly. We're not sure on that yet. Because I honestly think that we're going to get Seth and Logan, and we're not going to get anything tag wise there. Um, I mean, you could have Penta have a nice little having going into Mania. You could have Penta working Austin Theory, and I think they would tear the house down together. Um, but I think Penta definitely needs to hold on to that belt for a while. Um, it's odd because there's certain people like certain people that you could put him in there with that are just elevated past senior continental title right now. It's like you can't put him in there with Gunther because you can't have Gunther lose. Um, but then again, like that would be amazing between them. But there's I have a feeling that there will be something they'll pull out. Yeah, I'm afraid we're gonna get like a 4 or 5 man or a freaking ladder match, just because they seem to want to throw a ladder match on Mania every year now for no reason. Like it's become paint by numbers with Mania.
should Javon Evans be anywhere near Penta?
I wouldn't mind that. I don't think that Penta. I don't think Javon should go over just yet, but I think that would be great between the two of them. I think that's a babyface versus babyface match that you could sell to the crowd. That would be entertaining as hell. That Penta could go over because he's the seasoned veteran, and you just put each other over at the end. Big respect spot. I think that'd be great.
What's the I guess the ceiling for Penta? Could you put the world title on him? Is he a guy you look at and go, Pentagon Junior World Champion doesn't sound bad?
Currently, no. A year from now, possibly. It all depends on what Roman feels like doing.
Because you look at it sort of like we've been begging to get, the sort of, or WWE, I guess, has been begging like the next crossover star, like it's
Yeah.
Selena, Jennifer Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even believe I was saying this guy Bad Bunny until he became an a-hole. Like
What? What's wrong
they've
with Bad
been.
Bunny?
We can't go. I'm not going down that rabbit hole yet.
Okay.
But they've been dying for this guy, and he seems to have it. So again, like, what is this? I guess what is the ceiling for a guy that the WWE desperately wants, and they thought it was going to be Ray Phoenix, and it isn't. And now Penta seems to be the guy. Like, all right, like, what is Pentagon Junior's final ceiling in your eyes?
I think that on the trajectory that he's on after a decent reign with the Intercontinental title, I think you could test the waters with him in the world title picture, depending on who's across the ring from him. If it's Roman, no, you're not going to have Penta go over Roman. But depending on who's world champion or if Penta goes to the other show eventually, it all depends on who's across the ring from him. But there are some scenarios where you could try testing it out with Penta as world champion for a bit.
All right, yeah, we went from the professional. If you thought WWE scripted and it's a little bit safe, AEW's none of that.
Mm.
But so AEW Revolution, yes, it's Hangman Page with a syringe in his mouth, courtesy of MJF. MJF won the Texas Death Match after he looked like a peacock stuck with too many friggin' pieces of wood, a la in his head, a la John Moxley. Syringes are pulled out, everything, and at the end, MJF has won, which means, in theory, Hangman Page can never challenge for a world title ever.
And
I don't
he
believe
they
that, but
they just announced today that he's going to be taking deserved time off Crimea River.
why did this happen? Why can't we just have a normal match in AEW? If we were complaining about WWE and its ladder matches. AEW just goes overboard here. Why did we need a death match that felt like Mick Foley mixed in with Mr. and Mr. Anita mixed in with Japanese exploding death garbage mixed in with XPW Rob Black.
It's because it's laziness. It's because Tony doesn't know how to build stories that go into matches. He knows how to make matches that he hopes turn into stories. And unfortunately, it's this garbage nonsense where Tony like and we'll be completely honest. The only reason this is a Texas Death Match was because it was the last match on the card of a 5-hour show, and you knew that if it was a regular match, the crowd would be asleep. So you need to do a bunch of torch porn to make sure that people will react. And the audience that AEW draws will always react to dumb shit like this. Like, and I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for Texas death matches, for hardcore matches, and everything like that. It's just they get so overused in AEW and have for 6 years. Like, I don't think they've ever gone more than 8 weeks without having some sort of no DQ slash lights out slash Texas death slash garbage match on either a pay-per-view card or an episode of Dynamite. Like they never stop.
Who did this help? Did it
Nobody.
help MJF? Did it help Hangman Page? I mean, like
No.
this match felt like it ruined everybody.
Yeah, no, it didn't help anybody. It's, we're like, oh, it shows how rough MJF is. We already saw, like, MJF doesn't need to prove himself. We saw MJF get bloody as hell in a dog collar match versus Punk freaking 4 years ago. Like, we don't need that now. Like, it's just they needed something to make people have sympathy for Adam Page, because no one cares about Adam Page because he's a bland moron who is a ratings killer. And they're just like, oh, well, remember, people really cared when they had all these knockdown, drag out hardcore matches versus Swerve. Yeah, you know why? Because they were the last match on the card when people were falling asleep and you did a bunch of blood and stupid spots. I mean, just this spot alone. Why are you going to put a syringe through a guy's cheek and then let the liquid go out? What's the point?
Hey, I stopped trying to, figure out logic with AEW a long time ago. But again, I was looking at this here. You've had, in this card alone, as you said, 5 hours, 5 freaking hours in this match here, 46 minutes and 20 seconds.
Ridiculous. Like, that's the other thing. Texas death matches are supposed to be not quick, but not that fucking long.
So to do the fast recap here of AEW Revolution, because well, I don't want poor JJ's blood pressure to go up here. We had Boom and Doom, Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall defeat the Infamy, which featured a bump from the Rizzler. Yes, a 78-year-old got shoved down as
Assault on children.
yes.
AEW is a family friendly company.
Why the Rizzlers family has not sued Tony Khan for control of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not sure, but hey, maybe they'll come in here. Willow Nightingale defeated Lena Cross in her first singles match to retain the AEW TBS Championship. Hey, Jack Perry is now the AEW National Championship, winning a Blackjack Battle Royal again over Ricochet. We'll get to that guy in a bit. FTR defeated the Young Bucks for the Tag Team Championship, to which Cope and Christian are back and then beat up FTR, to which I could tell JJ is going, oh my God, now we're at senior citizen assault. Yep, that happened. Timeless Tony Storm defeated Marina Shafir, and then, well, we'll get to that debut. John Moxley defeated Konosuke Takashita, and then Will Ospreay came back, so I guess we're getting John Moxley versus Will Ospreay. Who's going to job? Well, we'll find out with creative control. The Divine Dominion defeated the Babes of Wrath. That's right. Willow Nightingale pulled double duty and lost in 5 minutes to two people we're not sure if they're over or not, but hey, we'll find out. Swerve Strickland defeated Brody King. Kenny Omega is returning, so we're getting half of Omega versus Swerve next.
Yay.
Thekla then defeated Chris Statlander 2-1 to retain her AEW Women's World Championship. By the way, Chris, when you're friends with CM Punk, that's not a good thing in this company. And then the Mystico Jet Speed, aka Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, who are blander than, well, wheat toast, defeated Don Cal's family, aka the Losers of Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. Why? Because we need bland baby faces. Andrade El Idolo defeated Bandito. Yep, Bandito, thank you for playing. You're now being, well,
Sent back to
jobbed to a
ROH.
guy who they have to bring in people to flirt with. Why? Because
Hookers.
Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong defeated the debut of the Dogs, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors, aka Bullet Club. But hey, good news for David Finlay, the check clears. So that's all that matters. This pisses me off because you have all this talent you're just shoving in there. There's no storylines for half these people. The ones that aren't pretty good. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
7 years into this. Why can't Tony friggin' just bring story writers in there? Fix this. Do something.
Because it's his toy box. He doesn't share.
Well, speaking of toys and toy boxes, guess who's going to come to destroy some of those toys? That's right, Ronda Rousey's back, but this time in AEW. She came in after the match, pointed, telling Tony Storm to get over here. Then they had a stare down. Security came in. Marina Shafir clocked Tony Storm from behind, and Ronda and Marina left, giving the middle finger to the crowd, which Ronda said was refreshing and what she was looking forward to. Why did you bring in somebody? If he thought Mercedes was going to be difficult with creative control, Ronda's even worse. So
Because
why?
Tony is begging for something to bump his viewership, and he thinks that this is it because he's stupid. And the fact is, you cannot sit there as a company owner and say, we are the morally superior company, and then bring in this walking fucking trash bag bitch who doesn't know when to shut up, who literally, like, the things she has said and done, not just about the wrestling business, but life in general. She is a trash human being. Like, back when she was under WWE's employ and she said some dumb shit, I'm like, okay, she hasn't learned quality PR yet. No, we're past that now. No, she is just an awful human being. And from someone who lives in the great state of Connecticut, I am still offended to this day of her Sandy Hook denying bullshit. I literally had a friend who had to guard the bodies of the dead children. Don't fucking get the fuck out of my fucking world, Rhonda. You can go to hell. Like, she is a terrible, terrible person. But Tony goes, I'm going to throw money at a situation and hopefully this is going to be fine. And it's just like, yeah, all of those moral superiority bucks that you think that you're accruing with your fans because you let them chant fuck ice doesn't matter a lick now, because now, and I said it earlier today, because they're like, oh, well, they do this. I'm like, Ronda's the tip of the iceberg. I'm like, the company is full of freaking grape apologists and sex pests and freaking PDF file defenders and abusers. Rhonda's just the cherry on the freaking sundae. Like, it's just, you don't get to say that you're in the high ground at all, ever. And she hasn't been in the ring in God knows how long, with the exception of that one ROH thing she did like 2 years ago. That everyone's like, ooh. She was the shits in the ring when she had guidance. Now she's probably worse. She's gonna hurt someone.
She can't even wrestle right now, though. That's the thing. Like she
Because
is
she's got that Gina
contracted by
Carano
M.
bullshit.
Yeah, she has her fight with Gina Carano on May 16th. So from now, we are here. It's March 18th to then. She can't lay a finger on people. So again, like you bring her in, and what was the point? So Marina's happy, so Moxley's happy, so she's happy. Like, yeah, like what's the payout for Ronda, who we're not even sure if she's gonna wrestle. I mean, we think
Right.
she might, but if she loses to Gina Carano, she might just go away for good.
Oh, she's gonna go over Gina Carano because that whole match is a fucking work.
Yeah, yeah. You say that, but Ronda never liked getting punched in the face. She didn't react well the last two times she got punched in the face for real. This might not be the third, so but still, what's the Ronda burned bridges with every pro wrestling fan the last time out. So again, like, who does this help with?
It doesn't help with anyone. That doesn't mean, that's this does not make sense in any universe, in any microcosm. This is just Tony thinking that he's got a one up in his pocket, and he doesn't.
Well, speaking of one-ups, or misguided one-ups, I'm keeping this here because I want people to still see this here. Damn, Ricochet's apology, which felt like Chat GPT.
This is why
Damn
my
his,
Twitter
oh,
is
hey, I'm
locked right
donating.
now.
Damn everything. That's what he said to a woman who basically made fun of his acting. Quick quote, I'm glad you got MS. Ricochet did something that I didn't think was possible. He became more hated Then Dixie Carter, Ryback, Val Venus, Mick Foley, and John Laurinaitis combined. You how Ricochet? Like even I don't care, and I get he's his defense. Well, all these people are doing this and they're making fun of me, wishing death.
So,
This is something he basically said his acting hasn't improved, and he basically responds by going, "I'm glad you got MS." JJ, I know I don't like to talk about your personal life, so I won't. But I know for you, this really sent over the edge. Why? Why for you is this a final straw where you're like, Ricochet needs to just disappear forever, just go away, go to
well,
just
for a few reasons. I mean, number one, it's just the fact that that's you're attacking someone for a debilitating disease that they have no control over the fact that they have it in their life. And that's why I made the comparison, because I get assholes like this on Twitter all day who make fun of me for having lost a limb. And I'm like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. But on top of that, not only that, but I mean, this hits home because my wife's mother has MS. And I've seen the trials and tribulations that her family has gone through in the past 15 years. And for someone to throw this shit out here like they think they're being edgy or they think they're being funny, no. And that's why I said you don't deserve oxygen. And for that, my Twitter is now locked. But it's there's nothing edgy about it. And I love how people are like, he's playing a heel. No, because what happens is when you say something edgy in a promo, you are across the ring from someone and there is going to be a payoff. You saying this to a woman who you have never met in life, there is no payoff. You are not going to be across the ring from her on Dynamite in 2 weeks. She is not going to be in that arena. She is not a wrestler. She is not a manager. She is not an announcer. She is a normal fan who literally didn't even say something that bad. And you just go right into freaking eighth gear with that shit? No, fuck you. Like it's and I used to have these conversations with my trainers back in the day, especially because I was a manager and you obviously want to get heel heat playing off people in the crowd. And there are certain lines that you can use and certain lines that you don't cross. And it's a matter of dancing that line very thinly. But you never go after someone for a literal disease that they cannot control. That's not low hanging fruit. That's not fruit at all. That is the dung that is on the bottom, that is underneath the barrel. Like you are like, words cannot describe how awful of a person you have to be to even think about uttering those words, let alone typing them, staring at your phone, and then hitting send. No, you have no moral compass whatsoever.
I'm just trying to figure how people can defend Ricochet. It's like, okay, and I get it. He's very sensitive, but this
You're in the
he
wrong
has been
business
his
then.
he's been his worst enemy. He is. I mean, I'm trying to figure out who else engages like he does.
Ryback.
Even Ryback doesn't go as bad as it. Like he's gone past Ryback again. He's gone past even the combined Ryback, McFoley, Val Venus, Dickie Carter in terms of hate. Like wh why for this guy who a couple of years ago we liked, and all of a sudden now it's like he just can't shut the f up. Like I mean, who the hell? Somebody has to get to Ricochet. Just like, please go away from Twitter for like 8 months. Just turn off Twitter, hang out with your wife, go to the therapy, go to church, go to the bar. We don't care. Just go any place but social media because he. I'm just shocked. Like, if this is just a tip of it. He's insulted other people. He's made fun of other people. Like, he just seems to almost have no filter for a guy who can't take it.
Right. And that's the thing is, you're in the wrestling business, you have to have a thick skin. Like you, especially like whether it's whether you're babyface, heel, whatnot. Like you are in the public eye, and you're playing a character, and you have to have a thick skin. That's just the way it is. If you can't be, if you can't just if you are that sensitive, you don't belong in this business. You don't belong in the entertainment industry if you cannot handle criticism of any sort. And yeah, does it hurt sometimes when people like throw some awful shit out there? Yeah, but that you roll with the punches. Like that's all there is to it. You either adapt and overcome, or you wither and die. That's the way the world runs.
Should he be fired? That's the question now going around people's minds.
Yes,
again, he's doing damage control like he can. He said, "Oh, I'm going to donate some money to her." See, I've heard
too
that
little, too
before from a
late.
lot of people.
Too little, too late. He
He's
should be fired. Because it's like, what are they gonna tell him that they're gonna take him off TV for a while and give him sensitivity training? He's still getting paid an insane amount of money that he shouldn't be to lounge around with his freaking wife. And it's the thing is, this isn't his first offense. Like this is his worst offense, but it's not its first. He's been pulling shit like this for over a year. And it's only a matter of time before we circle back and he does something stupid like this again.
if he gets fired, here's the question I was thinking of. Is he now almost unhireable? Like he's become almost
Mm-hmm.
he's Joey Ryan in a sense, where
Yep.
it's so much like you cannot touch him. Like I can't see TNA going at signing him
Mm-hmm.
after this.
Nope.
You
Not if
know
they
he's not
want to
going
keep
back
an
to
open
WWE.
relationship, WWE. Right. Yeah, no. MLW won't even touch him at that point. They're like, listen, we have our hands full just keeping Matt Riddle on retainer. Like, we're not going to even try this. But yeah, no, the you he put himself in a position where if I was in a locker room and I found out that Trevor was on the show, and the moment he walked in, if he would go to shake my hand, I would punch him square in the fucking face and turn to the booker and say, I'm out. Because no, you are not forgiven at all for this level of immaturity and for just no morality. Like you do not deserve to be in this business.
Will he get fired?
He won't. He should. He won't. He's friends with the Bucks. He'll kiss Tony's ass. He won't get fired.
So speaking of Tony Khan, yes, that's him. Your Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. He's happy, by the way. Joseph, he's happy. He he and Paramount are going to do good business. He sees
Sure they are.
opportunities. Hey, it's a great thing with all this new technology and analytics here. I can tell you're not buying it here. You have even Nick Piccolo was saying like, I hope AEW doesn't go under because they'll hurt the business. I keep thinking about that, and it would it really be bad if AEW went under? I mean, I get it. Yeah, wrestlers are getting paid well, so it's nice. But everything else that AEW has brought, it's now 7 years. They have almost a year and a half left change in their contract before the option is either renewed or not. So I look at this and I ask, is Tony Khan been good for pro wrestling, or has hurt this industry in a lot of ways that we didn't think were possible because, well, he's TK, Tony Khan.
He's hurt the business in a lot of ways. It's people look at it, and we've seen the tried and true stories of the past of people who have burnt out and messed up, the Herb Abrams, of the world, who like, Herb, completely was, just, burnt out and was gone because he ran out of money. Dixie Carter selling off this, that, and the other thing and making bad business decisions. And, obviously she finally got ran off. The problem is Tony Khan's dad has money. And as long as you can keep throwing money into the fire will keep burning. Doesn't mean the fire is actually warming anything except for the dude sitting in front of it. Because you can't keep a fire going with just paper. And unfortunately, I've seen Nickel Piccolo's viewpoint of I don't want AEW to fail because of and he even said like I want 4 or 5 companies to be around, and unfortunately that's in a perfect world where that won't happen. But obviously, you want to see the business have a standpoint where people have options. And I mean, yeah, WWE is the top of the mountain. Luckily TNA it's not the biggest thing, but they've got a cable TV deal. They've got a solid, they've got a solid core base that is larger than the base they had on Access TV, and people are showing a genuine interest in it, which is good. The only thing you can hope is that companies like MLW can improve and hopefully build towards being on a streaming service or something other than YouTube or Triller or whatnot. But that's the way it is. New Japan is New Japan. They'll survive by hook or by crook somehow, and they'll be there, but who knows in what kind of format. And it's just a matter of it's the world that we live in. It's we were never gonna, the moment AEW showed up, people were like, we're gonna have a viable number 2 promotion and they're gonna give WWE a run for the money. And I sat there and I said, no, they're not. Because right from the moment I went, look at who's in charge. You got a bunch of man children who are only concerned about getting themselves over, and a dude who knows nothing about the wrestling business signing the checks. It was like, this is not going to fare well. And I said, I was like, they'll keep going as long as daddy keeps signing the checks, but they're not going to do anything special and they're going to keep dwindling. And here we are 7 years later, and they've just kept dwindling to the fact that now, quite literally, and I cannot believe we are having the same conversation now that we were 6 years ago. Oh my God, Dynamite beat NXT 3 weeks in a row. Really? We're back to that. We're back to the Tuesday Night War or whatever, where it didn't matter that for the past 2.5 years, NXT was dog walking Dynamite. Dynamite beat him 3 weeks in a row. Oh my God. It's the developmental brand. And you're celebrating it. That it was stupid to be celebrating it years ago. It's even dumber now. But here we are, because they'll take a win wherever they can. They'll sit there and go, oh my God, Revolution was sold out. No, it wasn't. You had 18,000 distributed, which means comps, in an arena hold 22,000. You didn't sell out. If Raw was in that building, they would have 21 and change.
I just my bigger the 5,000 feet point of view is pro. Tony's employing a lot of wrestlers. Con, he's ruined a lot of young talent that now if they try to leave or if they get let go from their contract, they really can't go anyplace.
Right.
Con, the toxic, tribalism has gone worse than anything we've seen even before WWF versus WCW. Con,
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing more wrestlers almost getting hurt in AEW because of the
Mm-hmm.
stupid stunts. Con, we're seeing a return to, hey, we need to do these death stunts almost. We need to the dive, which we thought was sort of going away
Mm-hmm.
as TNA and even AEW were getting away from that. No, they brought it back. Con, we've seen a guy who, as you said, if AEW as and then I'll more credit to Kevin Apollo, who, by the way, check out his channel on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Great show.
Yep.
If AEW fails, no other network will take a chance on pro wrestling because they will have ruined it for everyone in the future. Like, so I look at almost AEW and go, have they hurt this industry just because of their existence? They outside of guys, certain people getting paid, which is nice. What is it? destroyed every relationship they've been involved in. They've ruined the promotions. They
Mm-hmm.
have watered down the salaries or expanded the salaries who don't deserve it of people. Like, what is, I guess, the positives for AEW?
I've sat there and thought about that myself long and hard. And the sad truth of the matter is there really aren't any positive, because even you will look at the positive of guys are getting paid. Yeah, it's a short term positive, but in the long term, you got guys thinking that they're worth X amount of dollars that they're not. And then when that revenue stream dries up and they have to actually go out and find work, they think they're worth up here when they've always been worth around here if they're lucky. And on top of it, people want to talk about this, that, and the other thing of WWE being a monopoly, which they're not. But look at how much WWE has helped TNA in the past couple of years, and how since WWE has purchased AAA, how AAA has grown in the past year versus where AAA was when they were working with AEW. You used to turn on Triple Mania and you would see a six-sided ring in this dingy, dirty arena that would hold 350 people, with them doing some hokey shit with guys dressed up in freaking Spirit Halloween Marvel costumes, doing like a Spider-Man versus freaking Iron Man match, like in the opener. And it looked bush league and terrible. And Tony just went in and yanked all the people that he wanted. Same thing that Tony did to New Japan. He yanked who he wanted. Now he's doing the same thing to CMLL. WWE, while they may have acquired one company and maybe having working with another, yes, there is a talent exchange, and they're sending some of their people down there to help pop a house or so people get something fresh and new, but they are not ruining those companies. These companies are growing because of it. Meanwhile, you have Tony, who outright purchased Ring of Honor and has done more than kill it. Like, he has literally killed it and dismembered it and then graped the corpse time and time and time again to where it is nothing now. There are Fleabag indies in Tennessee that have a bigger following and larger crowds than Ring of Honor. And yeah, so just across the board, there are no positives of Tony Khan being associated with this business.
We're going to end our final segment on something that's positive. TNA Sacrifice next Friday at March 27th from New Orleans, Louisiana at the Lario Center. Mike Santana versus Steve Macklin for the world title. This is not, this isn't, if you want to see two guys who are going to do athletic moves and pretty moves, this isn't it. This is two guys who are more older school, hard hitting. It's been based on Steve feeling disrespected. He's leaned into being a heel, which is great. Is this what, TNA needs in terms of a major feud for Mike Santana? A guy who can make him more real, make him, fight a more harder style, and have a guy who can play off his emotions.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Steve Macklin fan, but it's a stopgap. He's a solid hand. They're running the story with how he had the fired contract and eked his way back into the company, which that's fine and well. It'll be a solid match. Whether it goes on past this event, I don't really see anything more in it. Um, maybe like another one-off like title match on an episode of Impact. But I think they really need to start building out other challengers for Mike Santana after this. Macklin was a plug and play guy. He works for it. He's fine.
Should he be world champion? Like I'm for it because Macklin is a throwback to what we used to have. A guy who was an old school heel, didn't need to yell too much, didn't have cool catchy phrases. He gets it over being a heel, which I think in today's pro wrestling we desperately miss.
He, he's a heel, but he's there's not a lot of there's not a lot of oomph to it. It's kind of a generic heel. It's that's why like he's a solid hand. I won't say he's not. He's a Monster Factory kid. He was trained well, but he's not a guy that can carry a brand. But just he's got a ceiling.
Well, how many guys can? Like right now in TNA, who can carry the brand if it's not Mike Santana?
I mean, I mean, they've still got Nemeth. They've still got Edwards. Um,
Like Mike,
mm,
I know people love Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards looks like he's eating Eddie Edwards.
I know Eddie has gotten bigger since I first worked with him years ago. Eddie's not the skinny kid that he used to be.
Nick Nemeth, I get it, but it's still like, okay, regurgitate WWE guy. Like, at least Macklin has admitted, look, when I got cut from WB, I need to change. I need to rebrand myself. Like, I'm for him as world champion because it gives you the for teenage shows. Look, you can rebrand yourself and thrive. You don't have to just take, hey, oh, WWE back. We're gonna take a TNA and have the same thing, a la Santino Marella, a la Nick Nemeth, a la guys in the past who just came and regurgitated the same stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of an open thing. I think TNA is in a state of flux where I think they're going to be trying out some new people in the next in the next 6 to 8 months. I think there's going to be some shuffling there because I think we're going to see some people going elsewhere. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I still say, I mean, unfortunately now, like he's holding a couple of different belts. So I said they could have brought in Killer Cross, but he's kind of got engagements all over the place right now, so that's not going to happen. But there's people they could work with. I think I think if they were to if they were to bring in Kerry Morton, I think he would do really well. I think Silas Mason would do really well in TNA. Um,
Recently, they brought in Ricky Sosa. What could he be
yeah,
the heir apparent to Leon Slayer? Because you know that WB is going to steal Leon.
yeah, he'll be the guy to replace Leon once Leon's contract is up. And
So
that's the
that,
thing, they need to rebuild they need to really rebuild the X division. They really need to lean hard with WWE into working with them and getting a talent exchange with AAA guys to really get the X division popping again.
all right. So before we let you go, what do you think will happen? What should happen? Macklin versus Santana.
Santana retains. I think that's what will happen and what should happen. I think Santana's on a good run right now, and they're really establishing him as the face of the company right now, and that's a good thing because I like Mike. I knew Mike when he first started out, and he's come a long way, and he's someone that really figured it out. So it's good to have him where he's at.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I give you the man who's not afraid to pull any punches, take any dives. If your feelings are hurt, as he likes to say, I don't give a damn. I
Yep.
give you once again, it is the voice of the real wrestling industry. I give you Joseph J. Alexander. So, JJ, where can fans check you out at? Where is your show? When is it airing? What's on the next docket? Like, where can fans expect to hear more of your hot takes and knowledge dropping?
So the YouTube channel is the Full Circle Radio Network at Full Circle Radio. The wrestling oriented show that's on it is White Heat. I'm working on when the next episode of that is going to be currently. Ju- Judging on how things go because of my current Twitter jail and how I can't DM people. So
I blame a SRS guy for that, but I'm gonna try not to get
yes,
canceled.
absolutely. Absolutely. But we have some other fun things going on the channel too. The new episode of Wildcard Cinema just dropped earlier today. If you like movie review podcast, you can check that out. Um, you can find me on Twitter eventually at underscore JJ underscore Alexander, or you can follow the Full Circle Radio account, which is FCR underscore network. You can also find our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/, Full Circle Reloaded. Um, but yeah, I'm around. Eventually, my exile will. What? No, this isn't our channel. My dog is here for his obligatory like and subscribe spot because he sees me running through all the call stuff. Yes, but yeah, You can check us out on the YouTube channel. You can also find us on Odyssey, which is actually merging with YouTube now, apparently. So it's all the same stuff. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Joseph J. Alexander, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always on a pleasure having you on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on here, only on it's Last Call. Last Call at the Alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com.